Welcome, friends. Welcome to today's Reconsider It live stream. Best live stream you're gonna see all day. And here on this live stream, you are gonna get a very nice hour of some beat making on these 505 loopers, these RC 505s. Man, it's gonna be good. You're gonna see all the buttons and how I make the sounds and things. Oh, it's gonna be such a good experience. My regulars know what it is. If you are new to the Reconsider It live streams, welcome! You made the right decision joining us. We want you here. At this time, my friends, we are in a warm-up phase, just getting ourselves situated, just figuring it out, getting the blood flowing, taking from the bread of the new day. And here in this warm-up phase, my friends, I need to celebrate. I need to celebrate you. Thank you for being here. Whether you are here with us live in the chat, or you are here with us live, but you are not in the chat, or you are here with us after the stream watching on replay. However it is that you are with us, thank you for being here. I am going to celebrate you at this time in this way. I have got my drink, as you can plainly see. I'm going to count up to 3. I'm going to clink the screen. At that time, you are invited to join the rest of us as we cheers along and celebrate our togetherfulness. And it all begins very promptly on 1. Okay, the count up has started. This is serious. Not playing around. Okay, it's actually going to happen. 2. Okay, this is really happening. This is getting really intense, but it's also kind of ecstasy-inducing. 3. Clink. Cheers, my friends. Oh man, that's good. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Oh boy, that's good. Friends, we have got a 505 beatmaking stream on our hands at this time, which is a great and glorious honor. What's the opposite of a burden? What's the opposite of a burden? It's not a burden, it's a good thing. The privilege. We have the privilege at this time to have this particular 505 beatmaking stream. And my regulars know how these go. These streams are all about demystifying the 505 loopers. There's a lot of buttons on them. They look intimidating. If you're interested in getting one of these and you look at these and you're like, oh my goodness, can I handle that? That's what this stream is for, is to show you I got a couple of simple basic settings that you could use to get yourself off your feet and play around with one of these loopers. Of course, also, if you're already a 505 artist, you get to see some other artists spin on everything. I got two 505s. I got the Mark I and the Mark II. The Mark I is the first model. Surprise! The Mark II is the more feature-rich model. I use the lower looper, the Mark I. I use this for percussion mainly. If I ever do any kind of lyrics, I would put them down here. I use the Mark I for things that are a little more raw. Clearly heavily distorted, but still. The top looper is for things that there's so many more features. The Mark II lets you tune things. I can make everything the same key. And by the way, for my musician friends who like to jam along, this beat is tuned to the key of D flat. That's D as in Denmark. D flat. Beats per minute is 157.2. And when using these loopers, it's just my vocals going through. Everything you hear, all of this is all vocals. I do have a synth down here, but I'm not using it. And furthermore, it's not even plugged into the loopers. It goes into my mixer over there. So this stream is all about showing how did I make this beat, this foundation of a beat, which we're going to be building on with you. But how did I make this so far? Let's start with the percussion. My regulars know how these go. I got a bunch of, on both loopers, you have the ability to stack input effects. And you use those input effects to make different sounds. Even though this is just my vocals right now in the percussion, there's a bunch of sound effects. This isn't raw vocals. The raw vocals sound more like this. That's my raw vocals. So it doesn't sound like this. So how did I make it sound like this? How did I make the kick? The kick, my regulars know my usual formula. I stack two input effects. I don't use all three. I use an EQ, which is what it sounds like. EQ and volume boost. And I take down the high end a little bit, and I take up the low end a little bit. And then, once I have that, and that's again just me going, that sound. So nothing special. I'm not doing something great a cappella. It's all the loopers that make it sound like this. I take that EQ and I pass it into what's called a lo-fi. The lo-fi is what gives it this like kind of 8-bit sound almost. And you dial it up and down how much, in the same way you hear me dialing up and down the reverb right now. You dial up and down how much of these effects you want to put in, and you have the ability to use these buttons over here to dive into them, like exactly how much do I turn it up and down and all that. But after this kick, we got these 2 layers of other additional percussion here. We got this like shaker layer. How did I make this shaker layer? I took the same EQ as the kick, so they kind of blend a little, but I passed it through a reverb, and you can hear some reverb on these shakers here. By the way, my regulars know, but these this content, my looper content, is meant to be consumed with some like noise canceling headphones like this. FYI, to get all the little like, oh, did you hear that little reverb there? Now I got this like clap snare thing going on here. It's the same effects as the shaker, so those also fit together. And this is just me going like nothing special in an acapella sense. So that's it. You're fully caught up to speed on how I did the percussion. If you're playing around on one of these 505s, you now have some basic formulas to, you know, try to do something and get yourself off your. Do you say get yourself? You don't say get yourself off your feet. Get yourself on your feet. That's what you say. So you can use these examples here to get yourself on your feet. And then, of course, you're going to come up with something way better. So we got this bass as well. Oh, by the way, on the percussion, you may have heard a little bit of delay. There's the output effects on the right-hand side over here. So that's me just playing around. You can hear it most on the kick. So there's a little delay in there sometimes. But we got this bass as well. And as I say, anything that needs to be tuned or within a key, I use the top looper for that. So how did I make this bass? My regulars know how all of my basses start. Let me not make that claim. The vast majority of my basses, if not all. On the top looper, you can stack up to 4 input effects, which is really dope. So how did I make this bass? My regulars know how it usually starts. The effect called guitar to bass. That's what drops it a few octaves and makes it sound like some kind of bass-like instrument here. From there, I take that guitar to bass and I pass it into electric, which is the tuner. That's what makes this a D flat. So if, quote unquote if, when I sing and it's really off key, this snaps it to the note that I'm trying to hit. But in the mic, this is not me doing some kind of glorious bass voice. This is just me going like, doo, like virtually literally. But that guitar to bass drops it down to a bunch of octaves, and now it sounds like a guitar type of thing. Passed into electric, the tuner, then it's passed into a sustainer, which I understand is a compressor. So I use it as a loudness adjuster. But then all of that is passed into a slicer, which you can hear. Yeah, you can hear the slicer. Nice. So that's just a step slicer. There's a different type of slicer. This one is the step slicer. This one I use, I think, exclusively, question mark. But that's it. That's how I did this bass. Once again, I'm demystifying this. There's not a lot to it. You just got to stack the input effects that are, you know, whatever matches what you're looking for. For each of these 4 input effects, you can use any of all of. Let me rephrase that. For each of the 4 input effects, you can enable one of all available effects. The reason I phrase it like carefully like that is that it's not true on the Mark 1. On the Mark 1, you can stack up to 3 input effects rather than 4. So, okay, the Mark II added some features there. But also, when you use these 3 different slots, it is not the case that in any one of the 3 of them, you can use any of the input effects. That's not true. Some of the input effects are only available on channel, or not channel, but I guess button. You probably can't see it with the camera, but it's button A. And likewise, there are some input effects that are only available on input C. So it created some limitations that I never found to be prohibitive, but limitations. Whereas by contrast, going to the Mark II, that's one of the cool little things that if you didn't start out with a Mark I, this is like the grizzled old veteran moment. This is where I'm going to be like, you whippersnappers and your Mark IIs, you didn't have to deal with the fact that only some input effects were on button A and some input effects were on button C. I would have that conversation. And it would be a pretty good conversation. We would share a moment of a hearty chuckle. I've completely lost track of where we were earlier. I think I just allowed that to be a little random tangent, as I am told those add something desirable to the stream. You want to see me go off on tangents, I'm down with it. I can do it. So you're caught up on the drums and the bass, but then there's also this other thing. Whatever you would call this. Let me take this. Once again, you can put output effects in the upper right corner. I just disabled that button C over there. There's no output effects on it. That's what I'm trying to say. So whatever you call this. Synthy sounding thing. It's just my voice. That's just me going like do whatever I did there. So why does it sound like that and not my like busted voice? Here's why. Here's how I built this instrument here, which by the way is shared on the other side. My regulars know that I put my bass in the center, and that is also panned to the center, and then everything else is panned accordingly. A little bit to the left and right, farther to the left and right. My regulars know that that's a common pattern in the majority of my palettes. So how did I make this one? Here's how I made this one. Here's the input effects I used. For this one, I used an electric, which is the tuner, passed into a tremolo, which you could clearly hear. That's the like waviness of it. It's like pulsating. That's the tremolo. Electric tremolo. Then it's passed into an EQ. Is there anything special in this EQ here? It looks like the EQ has got the high gain is turned down a lot, like almost all the way. Is that all the way? It is. It's all the way. So I really, dampened it, like you put a pillow over the speaker. And the low is actually turned down yeah, that's right. The low gain is turned down a fair amount as well, which is why if you just listen to this, there's not a lot of bass in it. There's like a little bite here and there. Otherwise, it's pretty ordinary. Okay. After that, we've got the electric, tremolo, EQ, and then after that, it's passed into a distortion of the type overdrive, which is why, let's listen to just one of them. You can hear this one has like a sharpness in some places. That's the distortion. This one. in the more pulsing spots, there's like a sharpness in it. That's the distortion as the final piece. So once again, this, whatever you call this instrument here, is built out of an electric, the tuner, a tremolo passed into an EQ with the high end turned all the way down, and a lot of the bass removed as well, a lot of the low end removed, and then passed into a distortion of the type overdrive. You may have also heard that there's like something else coming in on this. Here the tones are pretty, neutral or pure, I guess. But then it introduces all of this like echoiness. So that's that. You are now fully caught up. Fully caught up on how I made this foundation of a beat. But there's also 2 more loops that are currently empty. I gotta fill those up. I'm gonna be doing those with you presently. And there's also 2 more instruments. The top looper lets you build up to 4 instruments in a given saved palette, saved configuration. And you've already heard 2. There's the bass. There's this instrument, whatever we're calling this. So that's 2, the bass and the other thing. And there's 2 more instruments that you haven't heard yet on this stream. Some good news, though, is that Probes has joined us. Welcome. So, we got 2 instruments. And we'll do these one at a time. The first one, the next one I'm going to add here, is built as follows. You haven't heard it yet on this stream. It's not playing right now. But this next instrument that I'm going to use is made of a synth, which is kind of like a horn, some kind of brass. That's how I use it anyway. Passed into an EQ. What does that have turned around in it? Pretty ordinary, nothing special. Using it as a volume. So a synth passed into an EQ, then passed into a reverse reverb. Probably not going to use a lot of that, but I don't know. We'll see how it sounds. And then the final one at the end is electric, which is the tuner. That's what's going to make it a D flat. So with that in mind, my friends, I am now going to go off of the speaking mic, and I'm going to go on to the looper sound effects. Let's see what this instrument sounds like, and then I'll make a loop with it. We have got David walking among us. I see there's a little bit of chat I gotta get caught up on. What's happening in the chat? Other than a lot of affirmation that it is the place to be. What do we have? Probe says that synthy sounds like a synthy muted trumpet or tuba. Yeah, some kind of brass. Trumpet or tuba. Yeah, I agree. It's not like a saxophone. So that's worth qualifying. That's a legit point. Trumpet or a tuba. Yeah, tuba is actually I hadn't thought of that. That's pretty illuminating. Let's put that new sound on that we're talking about. It has a place. It's not really a very good lead, the way I use it anyway. I wouldn't use it. Once in a while, you can stack effects in a certain way, and they work well with the other effects in the palette. You know, all the effects, all the instruments that I build, I try to make them, you know, in some way have some common element. Like I was saying earlier, that in the drums, they all share the same EQ. The clap and the shaker have the same sounds completely. Similarly, on the top looper for all these different instruments, I'll do things like, all right, they're all using a slicer or a tremolo or something else that uses a rate. You can pick, do it every like 8th note or 16th note or whatever. Something that has a rate to sync with. I'll generally make them either the same rate or something that is a direct integer multiple. So once again, this, what do we call it, a muted trumpet or something? I think a muted trumpet is probably the most succinct. Actually, I want to write that down. The coolest part of that is how Motor just showed up, which is just the dopest. Also, I see that also is here. My people, this world needs a hero. I just learned today that This World Needs a Hero is a song by Megadeth. I didn't know that. I used to be into Megadeth. Oh, by the way, if you were here or you watched there was a stream I did maybe like a week or two ago. It's probably closer to 2 weeks ago, where I was talking about some guy I used to know who played bass in a like metal bluegrass band. I think they called themselves Metal Grass. And I didn't remember their name. It was on the tip of my tongue. Their name is the Smoky Mountain Skullbusters. If you want to check them out. I'll say that one more time because you're probably very inspired and like running for something to write this down with, which I understand. I can relate with. I too am human, like you. Smoky Mountain Skullbusters. Check them out. I used to do Aikido with him. He gave me one of his Joes. Joe is a 5-foot staff we used to train with. I don't know if that's his. I have a couple Joes. Those are pretty dope. I see we got, it's a war trumpet. Or are we talking about something else that I missed in the chat there? Or is this the war trumpet? Like those mounted on elephants. What movie is it? There's some movie where they have some, it might be one of the Hobbit movies. Not Lord of the Rings. Or although maybe it could be Lord of the Rings. Or it could be something else entirely. Not either of those. But there's some CGI like giant mammoths with, 4, 6, 8 tusks and all this. It's like, that's pretty fearsome. Oh, by the way, I know that you've been waiting for me. Now that we're like, an entire month past it. You've been waiting for me to weigh in on whether 100 men could take on a gorilla. I'm prepared to give you the answer. I hope you're ready to hear the answer. This is the definitive answer. There is not any further follow-up needed on this discussion. Can 100 men take on one gorilla? The answer is no. There's a 0% probability that will happen, or could occur, that 100 men could take on a gorilla without any kind of weaponry. That's the challenge as I understand it. It's just like, go. The answer is no. 100 men cannot take on a gorilla. But Recon, what if blah 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 and then they blah 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 blah? Here's my response. Have you ever seen a gorilla? Without weapons, people are not going to take down a gorilla. You can forget it. Absolutely forget it. Moser says, I love that bass. I'm glad you say that, because I was iffy about whether I was going to keep it. I think my bass is, there's a lot of room for improvement in my bass, in my opinion. I'm always trying hard to figure out some new insight about bass. And in particular, my instruments, the ones I use. How do I make them sound better? What's the bass? What role is the bass really supposed to play in a song, in a beat? These are the kinds of philosophical questions that you can only philosophicalize when you're philosophical. Hope you got that last word. That was a pretty good one. David says, I have no interest in wrestling a gorilla. Yeah, seriously. Like, that whole discussion about can 100 men take on a gorilla, that's like, okay, friends, let's remove ourselves from, childhood fantasy, detached from reality imaginations of what hypothetically could be, and then come back to what would really happen really on Earth. Exactly how would that mass of muscle transpire? A gorilla would absolutely wipe the 100 men. Wipe. There would be no lack of wiping. What about a million? A million if some couple of hundred is willing to be mortally wounded or in some other way badly wounded, badly injured, while the other million pile on, some shit like that. So 1 million men take on a gorilla, okay. 100 though? No. I'm getting caught up on the chat here, and I see David says, I'll take the gorilla to the basement. And I'll say, whoa. David says a gorilla would throw them around like bananas. Exactly. I mean, a gorilla is very large. We're not talking oh yeah, a gorilla's like a big man. No, it's not a man, I know, but it's like a big man. It's no, you misunderstand. Just one chimpanzee could wipe 20 men. Just one chimpanzee. And we're talking a gorilla. Phobe says, what about Gorilla in the Basement as a title for some track? What about this track? Is that what this is? The gorilla's like wailing in the basement in a somewhat muted manner there. Is that what's going on? There's still another instrument here that I need to use, and there's a loop slot, I guess. What do I call this? Do I call this a loop? One loop? There's 5 loops. There's one of those. One of those over here. There's a loop, an empty loop still that I gotta fill. I could use some subs. Earlier today on the Symptoms of Reality stream, there was a lot of very passionate discussion, both with the twins and also in the chat. A lot of passionate discussion about like YouTube artists and helping to like build an increasing resonance of mutual recognition, mutual support among artists. And ultimately, ideally, attract additional viewers, audiences, help each other to actually reach new listeners. That's one of the ongoing challenges of independent artists, because it is a skill to reach your audience. That's not something that just happens if you make dope art, as any artist will attest. You don't just spontaneously reach your listeners as a musician. It's actually rather challenging, especially if you don't have that skill. And many artists complain about that. I would say rightly so, they complain about that. Many artists give up because of it. Many artists give up sooner than they would have, whereas otherwise they would have given up later because of something else anyway. But they give up sooner because it's difficult to reach your audience, and you know, there's only so many times that you can play a single venue, or you can play a handful of venues in one town to the same, you know, rotating group of a couple dozen people. You grow as an artist, and there are limits to your reach if you just let it happen on its own. Whereas artists who have a technique for reaching their audience, and I'm speaking primarily about musicians here, but it applies to any kind of independent source of, you know, some commodity, whether that's an artist or a small business owner or anything. You don't just spontaneously reach your audience. There's an additional skill beyond what just happens naturally on its own. And for many artists, that skill is like almost antithetical to what comes natural to them. Most artists do not have that skill of reaching their audience, promotion, networking, business. Most artists don't have, like, you know, in the Venn diagram, almost nothing in that overlap with all those four things I just listed. What did I say? Business and networking and marketing and some other thing, reaching your audience. The big artists you hear about are the ones who are strong in those areas, whether that's by themselves or with a team. But the, like, real independent, like truly independent artists, like making a live stream in the corner of a bedroom. That artist, it's hard for that artist. It's hard for that artist to reach the people who would be like, this is so dope. Most artists do have that, even if it's some, like, very niche thing. Most artists have got an audience. And for an artist, it's painful, or it can be. I shouldn't say it's inherent to all artists. I hereby speak universally on behalf of all artists. But for many artists, including myself, I would admit, it is painful to not reach your audience. So, on Symptoms of Reality stream today, they were talking about trying to do what we can together as a community to try to get some kind of, like, you know, kindling started. Let's get a couple of twigs and, like, dried leaves and try to get something going, and then we can worry about whatever else we're going to do to sustain and maintain something. And there was a lot of talk of subs on this stream. And I said, I could use some subs. And it's true. I could use subs. I might make reference to that from time to time. There's a lot of dope content going on in the chat. I really gotta get caught up here. I also still gotta fill in this additional loop. Yeah, taking the mic. I'm breaking it right. You make it enlightened. When you win, checking out this live stream, I might be the guy you need to be, dropping the rhymes and keep the real dope flow going, yo, you know. Warheart says I haven't really marketed myself. I don't like the idea. Yeah, you are not alone. There are many artists who share that sentiment. There have been times that I felt that way too. I used to feel like if my art is, worthy of something, or if it's, insert qualifying condition here, then it'll like summon through the universe all of everything that needs to be summoned and attracted to it. And I don't have a counter argument for that, but I also say that you grow past what that can bring. Or at least I feel I do. I'm ready for more. I'm ready for more than just spontaneously happens on its own without any additional, me fanning the flames. I intend to fan all flames. I see David says, how do we attract a gorilla? We got to get on this plan here of putting a gorilla to the test. Trusto says you put a banana in the basement, obviously. I mean, how trivial of a problem is that to be solved? Put a banana in the basement. Oh, wow. Probes is saying that Bandcamp should implement a video and live section. That's awesome. A live on Bandcamp? That would be dope. I would want to stream to that. Even though what I have on Bandcamp is not any of this. What I have on Bandcamp is me making beats in Reason. And they're weird. The beats are really weird. Some of the lyrics are dope. You might like my Bandcamp page. It's just my name, reconsider it, over at Bandcamp. But my studio albums, the lyrics are dope, of course. The beats are weird. And some of the songs have really odd arrangements. That's what I like. I'm into that stuff. Like my solo album, Sidestep. Most of the songs on there are not just like a typical verse, chorus, verse type of thing. A couple of them are. But most of them do some other kind of experimental, intentionally off the beaten path kind of thing. Much of my released albums, I have a few albums that are released, probably like 5 or 6, including collaborations. Most of them include some element of intentionally going off the beaten path. That's just kind of how I operate as an artist. That's what my name means. Jack says, artists need help. If you self-release, labels see you as a competitor. I don't know if I've heard anybody say that, but that makes a lot of sense. That sounds like a sharp insight. So are you saying that like labels will now, I don't know, try to sabotage you or something? If they are a competitor, that is. Trusto says, you got to think of it as just sharing your work with people. YouTube is a platform that is geared to musicians. Dig it. Yeah, I've given up on the idea of, I guess, hold on, I shouldn't say given up. I don't know that I've given up. But at this moment, I have no intention of going through the process of like formally releasing an album. Like, what? Forget that. That's so much work. That's so much work to release an album. I mean, it's one thing to write the song. That part's cool. That could be really fast. It could take a couple of weeks or even months in some cases for a song. But the writing the song part, that's not the hard work. The hard work is like, I gotta go record the vocals. Let me get a good recording. Oh, that word wasn't great. Oh, let me do another layer. Let me get the best version of this. Oh, I did, 8, 10, 12 recordings of a single verse. Which is the best one? Let me pick the best 2 or 3. It's, oh my God. And then, like when I do the mixing for my stuff, it's so tedious. All the mixing I've done is very, self-taught, exploratory, just kind of randomly guessing. So I don't intend to like formally release music anymore at this time, any albums, but rather just do like what I'm doing here on YouTube, where I just play live streams, interact with you. Interacting with you, my people in the chat, this is my favorite part of the live streams. I'll release songs like I do here already on YouTube, where I save off my beat and then I make a song out of it. I might put a rap on it. David says that was a solid Sore show today. It was inspiring. Yeah, the twins were really like, you know, very passionate. It was nice. Warheart says we have a lot of good musicians in this circle. Yo, man, that's what we're talking about. There's a lot of people in, you know, there's probably 4 or 5 circles with a huge overlap, and a lot of people see each other often. And there's a lot of really dope, like seriously for real, we're not playing around, seriously dope, not just flattering each other, really seriously good artists. I see right now we have Glitchman, which is good. That's very good news. Glitchman says, I disagree. I think 100 Lou Ferrignos could take a gorilla. All right. Warheart says to win the fight with the gorilla, befriend it. See, this is the brilliant, genius kind of stuff we need. This is good. Warheart says, I'm planning on making an EP. Cool. And after that, I don't know. I might just drop stuff on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. It's just, if you have some huge audience of, a lot of people who will listen to your stuff on Spotify or wherever, and you will get income from it, or they will buy your CD. There are some people who still want a physical CD, or they'll buy your merch. Unless you have this like really substantial sized audience that is likely to make purchases like that, you know, an album is just like a stimulation point for them. That's why you go through the effort of making a product and making it available for sale. You're giving your audience something, an experience. But otherwise, if you're just releasing music because you love it and you want to like do awesome stuff and you hope someone hears it, but if no one hears it, that's okay. You still want to make it because you have this awesome inspiration. Like if that's all it is, then yeah, YouTube is a great outlet for that. A really good outlet for it, in fact. I don't know if there's a better outlet for musicians. Or platform, really, I guess is what I mean to say, not outlet. A lot of people say Twitch as well. I haven't put any effort into Twitch, honestly. I think I have like 10 followers over there. Isn't Twitch more about like gaming, game streaming, and I don't know, like people sitting around and just letting you in on their fun? I don't know. Or like, here's our sports commentary. I see we have a very nice contribution as well from Lang, saying this track is called Monk Funk. I'm with it. Probe says maybe there's a chance that some smaller label might want to invest in creating some kind of streaming service, video streaming service, where they have something like a fast track that if you're popular on that platform, then you get some kind of label attention. You get signed. Maybe. I don't know if there's really... Everybody struggles with the question of what's the best way to get artists to their audience, at least for musicians. I think part of the challenge with musicians reaching their audience is that there is a fundamental qualitative difference between music as an art form and reaching your audience and such, as opposed to say like a painter. I would argue, and I am confident that we would observe in practice, that it is easier to help a painter find his audience than it is to help a musician find his. And that is due to restraints that are fundamental to our perceptions. Our neurology, that is. Here's what I mean. In order to see or experience a painter's work, all you need is your sense of vision and light, I suppose. And you can perceive the painter's work in an instant. You just look at it and you see the whole thing. You could, in theory, you could like take a snapshot and close your eyes and maybe see it for a couple seconds. Whereas to experience a musician, what a musician brings to the table, it requires a time investment. So it would be easier, for example, to set up a profile, a web page for a painter who might take whatever photo or scan of, let's say like 30 of his dopest paintings and load them onto this profile at paintersrus.com. somebody who is a potential painter consumer, painting consumer, could go to this web page and look at the paintings and be like, oh, dope, and see this like really cool 30, portfolio of 30 examples of his dopest work. And the person could, in principle, consume it kind of quickly in a few seconds, and then go back and look at it more thoughtfully over the course of, still get through the whole library in 5-10 minutes. Whereas to experience a musician, there is not only the concept of experiencing a song, like one single song. Here's my song that's, 5.5 minutes long. There's that. So to experience that one song, you need to invest 5.5 minutes of your time. Meanwhile, you've already consumed all 30 elements from the painter. There's this fundamental imbalance, and I'm mad about it. Instead of submitting to the natural order, so a musician, 5.5 minutes for a song, but that's just one song. You got to consume a few. But really, whether painter or musician, this was another thing that Shure was talking about today. The Shure twins. You have to have a persona. I don't know if I heard them mention the specific angle of that. I agree that you need a persona, and I would I would contribute to the conversation that the reason you need a persona, you need an artist persona, is that you need to have a way to instantaneously, without a 5.5 minute investment, in 0 seconds, you need a way to captivate your audience and attract them to you. That's what a persona is and does. You take on an image and, a sort of like larger than life predictability, predictable character that's larger than life, certain elements, operating within certain very well exaggerated, defined parameters. You take on this like highly recognizable image from a distance that you see instantaneously and resonate with, and then you decide you're more curious and want more. Then you can maybe do some time investing, look at the painter's stuff, listen to a couple songs. Probe says going to a musician's live performance is the closest thing to a painting. See, that's what I'm saying. I was saying like you have to have 5.5 minutes for one song, but there's so much more you need to absorb in order to really know what a musician is about. Like for many musicians, thankfully I guess, it seems to be a thing where we're moving to doing live streams as being, the primary thing. Speaking of which, I was just talking to this guy, Tayamo Denku. He was doing a show here a couple weeks ago, and I was hanging out with him for a few minutes, a couple hours before a show he was doing, and we were talking about how, like when it comes to live shows at a bar, at a venue, people just don't really come out. It kind of stopped after the pandemic. It was pretty good, it was a workable dynamic before the pandemic, but things really changed, and it's just kind of been dying and kicking and kind of breathing its last breaths. People don't really go to live shows, but a live stream, that's pretty convenient. They can watch that on their phone while they're at the grocery store. People are busy. It's easy for musicians to lose sight of what, or I guess where exactly music is on people's priority lists. Where is it on people's priority list to go consume music? Trusto's heading out. Got the grandbaby. Moser says, yeah, it's not the same concert world that I'm used to. Exactly. It's just 100% not. There are still, like, huge events, but, you know, even as I go look in my local area listing to see in the local bars, what do we have in terms of live music on a Friday night or a Saturday night, it's like, there are fewer options than there used to be. It used to be like, oh man, there's this huge list. A lot of these I don't want to go to, but there's, you know, 3 or 4 that would be really good. But nowadays, it's like, ugh, I don't know, maybe I'll go to that one. It could also be that I'm just out of the loop. Let's just be real about this, shall we? I do sometimes catch a show, and it is in the kind of energy that I'm very much with, and I'm like, oh, this is so dope, and I don't know, it just seems less frequent than it used to be. Warheart says, music isn't the cultural blood that it was. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. In the 90s, I think, is when it peaked. I could be wrong about that. I'm open to I don't know, discussion on that. That's when I fell in love with music, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be an artist. That happened in the 90s. I think 1992 and 1995, there was just like a bunch of albums came out that were just the dopest thing ever in those years. 2000s had a lot of good stuff. 2010s, I'm sure there was good things that I even have in my library, but I don't know. The 90s was when it was like, yes, music. And people had a favorite band. In the 90s, people had a favorite band. I don't have a favorite band. There's a variety of artists that I like. But it's difficult also for me to tell because the 90s was my adolescence. So it may have just been that's what I'm really trying to say is in my adolescence, people were, you know, more into music. In my adolescence, people, you know, the 90s was the time to be. There was dope music. You know, it could just be that. Moser says, yeah, man, remember when everybody was going to a concert? Right. Right. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's like you're going to shows those nights, most weeks. Man, it was such a bummer when, like, during the pandemic, there was a bunch of venues that I used to play at that used to have dope shows all the time, and they all closed during the pandemic. I was like, you know, the world really ended. The world ended in the pandemic. Warheart exactly nails it. He says, we need it as artists, music that is, we need it, but we're really biased. Nowadays, more people, they just have every other option on earth, and, you know, music is not... Live shows used to be a way for people to do something together. You know, that's here's another one of these insights that I occasionally drop. You may or may not have known this, but people talk a lot about how there's like a loneliness epidemic, and how people feel isolated and they don't have any real connections, and they feel, you know, anything up to attacked by others, but not necessarily feeling attacked, but certainly feeling like on their own, even a bit screwed. People talk about this loneliness epidemic. The reason that's happening, or how about this? One of the contributing factors. One of the contributing factors is that people don't do things together like they used to. It has to be some physical activity in person. More and more people are living solitary lives. They live their lives online. That's what they're doing, is using the computer. What they're doing is using their phone by themselves, on their bed, on the couch, in a chair. And they report feeling alone, even though they have this device to connect them to everything, to virtually connect them in a communication framework. Whereas before the internet, back in the 90s, people, the only way to connect with someone was like calling them on the phone, which was like, you know, mounted on the wall in the kitchen with some long cord that spun around and was thick, and you'd be able to walk into the other room with it. You either do that phone thing, or you have to do something in person. You have to like actually go hang out with someone. But nowadays people just interact online, or at least it is to an increasing degree. And that's where the loneliness comes from. You gotta do things. You gotta physically do actions with other people in order to feel connected to them. It's an action-based thing. It's not based on whether you like each other. It's not based on whether you have things in common. It's based on whether you spend time in the same place doing something together, or both participating in something and interacting in some way. That's what connects you to someone. So FYI, if you want to find your way out of this loneliness epidemic, that's your solution. Do things with someone or a couple of people. It doesn't matter if you don't like them. It doesn't matter if you don't like the thing you're doing. Just do things in the same place and time as other people, and then you will, at least for that brief period, you will have some sense of connection. I just solved a very serious problem for some number of you. Probes has a comment. Says, I like going to a place like a live venue where they have 5 or 6 different bands, but in different rooms, and you can just walk around and go between the different rooms. Yeah, that's cool. Or like a big festival. They just had a big festival, free festival in my town, where they had at least 2 big stages, outdoor stages, but they were far enough apart that you could go to one or the other. And they also had another, like, I don't know what you'd say, like dance floor. It was like a club, you know, like a thumping dance music club. And they had it off in the corner away from both of those stages. But it was across such a huge expanse of land that they could do that. But yeah, to do that compactly at a club or a bar, that's cool. That's just good design. Man, I really wish that there would be some kind of renaissance. I see that Warhard is mentioning that we're on the precipice of some kind of renaissance. I would agree that we're in the precipice of something. And it would be wonderful if it were a renaissance. I've been to places like that, though. I see that Warhard is saying you're describing heaven, where you go to some kind of club and they have different rooms. I've been to plenty of places like that. That's pretty common. I mean, I don't know if I say it's common, but that's not hard to come by. That there's like 2, 3, 4 rooms. That's like a rave thing. That's very common in that scene. Where you're in whatever old building that maybe used to be offices or something, a warehouse, and there's different sections. You know what's cool? You ever been to a silent party where they give everybody wireless noise canceling headphones like this, and that's it? But they're playing whatever club music. People are dancing in the club way. All of this, and it's hilarious because you put the headphones on and you feel like you're just it's dark and they got whatever lighting that you'd expect at a club and all this, and then you go get a drink and you take off your headphones and it's totally quiet and everybody's like oh, it's so good. It's very good. It's a great experience. But you can easily talk and get a drink, so that's the best. That's like the number one highlight of a silent party, is that you can take your headphones off and actually talk to someone. That's good. And it's also easy to be like, what? I can't hear you. Why? I can't hear you. That's easier to get away with that. Moser says, we used to have that kind of thing on the beach. They were all spaced out. We had 8 stages with different genres. Yeah, that kind of stuff is that's a proper festival, Music festivals are dope. But yeah, as we were saying earlier, it's just not really the cultural, everybody is into something. It's just not like that anymore. A lot of musicians are like, what? I invested all of this, all these years. I still have this other loop, by the way. I got to put in this. Let's see here. I'm gonna do this new loop here with this new instrument. This one that you've not heard yet. This one is also built out of the synth, that muted trumpet kind of sound. I'm gonna use that. That's good. The synth passed into a sustainer, which is the compressor, passed into electric, which is the tuner, passed into a roll. Oh, one of my favorites. That gives it the sort of choppy repeatedness. Oh, it's so dope. I'm gonna go off a speaking mic. I'm gonna play around with the sound effects, and I'm gonna make a loop. This is gonna be real good. that was pretty dope. That came out nice. Once again, this new instrument that I just made and I'm going to bring back in right now. It's made out of a synth, sustainer, electric, and then a roll. Roll 1 more specifically. Dope. I love that roll effect. That's so good. It's so just satisfying and fulfilling and more good things to say. Warheart says, the guitar was considered cool when I started back in the 90s. Right, exactly. I have guys that I went to high school with who are in that position. One guy in particular I'm thinking of, that he was always really good at guitar. I remember in high school that he just picked up a guitar and he was just dope at it. He played, acoustic or electric, and he just was mad awesome. And he still does. That's... Oh, man. I guess 30 years later? Wow. Yeah, so he still posts... Once in a while, he'll post some guitar, a couple minutes of just playing around some really dope original thing he does, and it's dope. It's like amazing. It's very, very good. But I mean, is he making some record deal? Whatever it was, like, music became like way awesome in the 60s as a cultural phenomenon, and that just kind of lasted until the 90s when it kind of, maybe collapsed after the 90s. I don't even, I'm sure there's words for some kind of like life cycle of a thing. There was an explosive, awesome, highly fertile birth in the 60s, and then there's all sorts of exploration of different styles and everything through the 70s, 80s, and then there was this culmination of awesome greatness in the 90s, and then it just was like petering out and falling apart and everything, and then by today it's like... Probe says, hey man, when I started, synths were cool back in 1981. You are hereby trumped. You are defeated. Now here's the best part that I can tell you right now. When I do looper stuff, now it's cool. Shout out to my people in the year 6,338. I see Warheart is asking the age-old question. Is being cutting edge of new? Like the most newest of the new, just being the newest, most cutting edge new of the new. Is that the only way to make a wave? Plus also being publicly insane? Probably not. There's probably other ways to make a wave. I don't claim to have any wisdom that I could advise. I mean, if I had demonstrated that, if I was like, look, let me show you. Right now I have more of a like intimate campfire going on rather than huge waves. Friends, thank you for being here today. Thank you for being part of this stream. Thank you for being part of this beat in the making. All of the energy that you bring to this influences the beat. Thank you for being a part of this. I hope to see you in the next live stream. My regulars know that there is a variety of delicious streams available on the Reconsider It live stream menu. Today we did the upper right, we had 505 beat making. That's where I built up the stream, I built up the beat, and I explained like, all right, I'm using this sound effect, it gives it this sort of nature, and I give you some insight into how I'm using the loopers. I talked a little bit about the loopers in some other ways. 505 beat making. Join us for the next 505 beat making. We've also got in the bottom right, Tinkering in the Studio. Tinkering in the Studio is completely unstructured. We play around with loops like today. I bring in the synths. We keep talking about all sorts of whatever. Tinkering in the Studio is the stream of all streams. In the lower left, we got Unspoken. Unspoken is playing around the loops, playing around with the synthesizer, but no talking at all. Not once on the whole stream from the start to the finish do I get on the vocal mic and talk at all. It's totally instrumental. It's great if you want to put on something in the background. You want to put something on while you're listening to another stream. You want to listen to two streams. They're talking in the other one. Unspoken is great for that. Join us for Unspoken. In the upper left, we got Loops and Chill. That's like you see me putting on a show at a live venue. Really well put together. Wow, you rehearsed that? No. It's all being improvised, building the plane while I'm flying it. The beat, the arrangement, how I do everything with it, the volume and the sound effects and everything. Join us for Loops and Chill. And until then, my friends, please, please, please welcome the Crazy Women! Also, please have a very good rest of your day today. Please have a very enlightening rest of your day today. Please let the rest of your day today bring you exactly what you need. Please experience growth today. Please experience healing today. Please experience healing that exceeds what you believe can happen. What you believe can happen to you, what you believe can happen to anyone. Please experience the deep, deep, miraculous healing today. Please let the rest of your day today bring you to the starting point, the first steps of the beginning of the rest of your life. Please let new horizons be opened up before you today. New, hopeful, inspiring horizons that give you new reasons to wake up in the morning. Please experience the beginning glimpses of this today, my friends. And I will see you in the next Reconsider It live stream.